In today's video, I'm tackling a space I haven't touched in months, and to say I'm embarrassed would be the understatement of a century. How it got this bad, I will never know, but if there's something that you've been putting off, let's go get it done together. Now I know what you're thinking, hey, this isn't too bad, what are you talking about? But unfortunately, I am only easing you into this video. I have saved the best or the worst for last, however you want to look at it. And by the end of this video, you are gonna know me way too well. So we're gonna start off in this bathroom because that seemed like the least daunting, since I only had a few little tasks to do, one of them being putting my toilet rolls away. And I know what you're saying, oh, this is riveting stuff, Victoria. Do you know what? I'll be honest, I do not put my toilet rolls away. I don't know what happens in this household. I don't know if it's the same in yours. I think people eat them or are selling them on the black market. I don't know, but they seem to disappear. So putting them away is not actually top priority for me. Now, while I was rummaging my way through those drawers, I did find more sachets of the pink stuff. I have used it before, but somehow I still have so many left over. And to be honest, my personal recommendation for this is do not buy this product. I think she looks cute in the toilet. I think she smells fantastic. But beyond that, she's not worth your coin. I really didn't see much of a difference with this, and I've tried it before, so I was hoping for the best. But unfortunately, it is just a pass for me. Now, I did leave it in the toilet way longer than it said. I think on the packet it says like 10 minutes or something. I left it in for closer to an hour. You know, with ADHD, we get distracted very quickly. So it got forgotten, and I feel like in that time, it should have come up with some kind of results. So to produce barely anything, it's not worth it. While she was bubbling away in my toilet, I did decide to give the shower a clean. Even though this is our least used shower, she was so grimy. I don't know how it happens, and I know this room doesn't give least used. Let me tell you, it is nothing compared to the other one. But I did go in with my favorite glass cleaner, which is the Saba Organic, and I told myself when I was wiping this down, we won't get distracted, we're just here for the glass. And you bet your bottom dollar I got distracted, and all of a sudden every single little thing was screaming at me to get done. But I have to be so conscious about not getting carried away with these things, because I'll tell you right now, I could spend 45 minutes cleaning this shower top to bottom, every little nook and cranny, and still be frustrated by some dirt. So I have to pick my battles wisely. As you can see, these tracks down the bottom definitely needed my attention. I wasn't going to bust out a brush this particular day. I wasn't in the mood for it, but I did wipe it down with the rag. I love me a good microfiber, let's just be honest. We're all about that sustainability around here. But we're moving on to my kitchen, and I feel like we've stepped it up a level with the chaos in here. You may have noticed, by the way, that I just didn't finish that bathroom because I'm gonna be real, I just gave up. I wasn't in the mood. I said, I'm done. Let's move on to something else. Hasta la vista. I am gonna take a tiny little break from talking about cleaning because I do have an update to give you. If you watched the previous video, I said that the family and I were gonna go to Ed Sheeran, and let me tell you, we had the most fun time. Actually, if you go back and listen to that video right at the end, you can hear my voice is completely gone, and that should tell you the kind of time that we had. It was the kids' first concert, and do you know what? They did pretty well. I'll give it to them. They enjoyed probably an hour and a half of it, and then they sort of switched off and were done with it. So we didn't stay much longer because it was getting very, very late, and we did have school the next morning and work, so we decided to cut it early before the crowds all were leaving, which was a little bit sad because we were having a fantastic time at it. Considering I've never been to an Ed Sheeran concert before, I would absolutely go again, probably without the kids and getting some closer seats, because it was a little sad that we were so far away and I could only see his ginger hair, and that's about it. But it was really, really a fun night. I do have to say, as a side note, I did not know that this was the start of the tour, because because it is unheard of for Australia to have tours that start over here. We're usually at the end, and by then the artists are exhausted and probably over it. But that's enough of that. Before we move on to the next clip, I am in here with one of those special oven scraping blades, because if you have an electric cooktop, you know the struggle, okay? To keep them clean is so difficult, and they always have this little ring of buildup. But I do recommend the Cerepool stove cleaning kit. Comes with the little blade, and that helps tremendously with getting all the caked on stuff, because usually it's just water that gets under the pan and maybe a few other things that get cooked on there. Now, this is the state of the rest of my kitchen, and for me this is not too bad, okay? I know it looks pretty bad, but we do have so much bench space, so we spread ourselves very far. And I also have a ton of appliances on the bench, which is not usually my go-to. I prefer to go for the minimalist look when it comes to appliances in the kitchen, and I can guarantee you most of these don't even need to be out. So when I'll be filming my kitchen declutter, I'm absolutely going to try and be very ruthless, because my husband picked up another hobby this past year, so that means I've lost some more cabinet space, but we're going to make it work because some of this just needs to disappear. But speaking of my husband's hobbies, he has been in full beekeeping swing, and I think this year so far we have harvested over 100 kilos. We currently have about 95 jars full of honey just sitting in our dining room, which I know is a fantastic spot. We're yet to work out where all this stuff can get stocked. I think that's been a very successful season for us. All I wanted was about 12 jars a year to get me from one season to the next, and we have gone above and beyond that. We are selling it to his workmates and to people who know about it, but we're getting way too much. And since we have such a long warm season here in Australia, we end up with a lot of honey. We definitely have to come up with some more ways to sell this stuff. I've been giving it away to people that I know, but I also just had a light bulb moment about 2 seconds ago, and I'll have to do a little bit of research, but I'm thinking I could possibly donate some of this to like a food bank or food pantry, something like that, and be able to give it away to some people. And I think that would actually mean a lot to me to do something like that. I just have to look into the logistics of whether they can take something like that, because a lot of them online were just saying they want pre-packaged food. Definitely be something I have to probably ring around and ask. But if you didn't know, initially the beekeeping was going to be my hobby. I was the one who kind of started the ball rolling on that, and then hubby showed a lot of interest once the bees came, and it became his thing, and it was a blessing in disguise, because I honestly don't know how I was going to find the time to do that, plus motherhood, plus cleaning the house, plus YouTube. So now I just turn up with my jar at harvest time. I say thank you for your work and see you later. So I'm very grateful that he took that on board. Anyway, back to what we're actually doing in this house. This sink never gets any love. Never. I think I just go in there gung-ho and just start cleaning all my dishes, because I've always got a pile. Always. It's just, if there's not a dish in there, we're unwell, okay? Like, let's be real. And I also definitely got distracted with wiping down my windowsill, which you'll see in a second. And I'm someone who lets clutter build up on my windowsill. I think because I erased my little catch-all basket, it now ends up on the windowsill of things I'm like, I don't know what to do with you, I'll come back to it. And then of course months later it's still sitting there. I mean, you can see we have a Plaster de Paris volcano, and there's no need for it on a day-to-day basis, so I'm not sure why she's within arm's reach. But my son did receive it for Christmas, and it came in one of those kits, and then you did the vinegar and bicarb in it, and he had a lot of fun. It was a National Geographic kit. But on a side note to that, my mum asked me what to get my son for Christmas, and I said, I don't really know, maybe something like this, because I had already purchased all the things he did say he wanted. Anyway, so then when we all gathered together for Christmas with my family, he ended up with like 4 or 5 things of National Geographic stuff from, I assume, everyone who asked my mum what to get him. So we had a lot of fun making all these different kits. We had so many spiders, snakes, delicious things like that, and of course the volcano. But I'm gonna play a song right now, and then we'll come back and deal with this chaos.
know, isn't it my birthday yet? Cause I gotta say, you're looking like a gift for me, wrapped up nice and neat, baby. Get in my way now, don't be shy. We'll be here dancing day and night. Get in my groove now, don't be shy. Cause I got this list of my favorite things. You could be the part where it all begins. You could be the first and the second and the third and the rest of it. You could be one of the things I love. Sunday morning breakfast with my bedroom door locked. I like everything that has a cherry on top. Get on my list of the things I love, love, love. You could be the one I trust. All the second chances, they are nothing for us. I like it all with the cherry on top. Be one of the things I love. We don't have to move so fast, baby. I will show you how you can catch my vibe. And right away, got so much time looping in the blurry lights. Get in my way now, don't be shy. We'll be here dancing day and night. Get in my groove now, don't be shy.
Okay, I managed to get my booty back into this bathroom to sort out what is this diabolical situation on the bench. And yes, that was an entire rosemary plant sitting inside the sink. It had been there for way, way too long and it wasn't paying any rent. So, see you later. The people at my husband's work are so generous, and someone gave him 2 large pieces of their own rosemary plant because they know he uses it for his honey packaging, and we only have so much rosemary. Our bush isn't as big as their one. Apparently they've got a lot, so they were happy to share, which is so nice that they wanted to cut up half their plant for us. But they're all so sweet like this. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. He is definitely the favorite boss because they went all out for his birthday, and apparently they don't normally do that for anyone's birthday there. So he was a little bit embarrassed by it, but I mean, you get what you give. So they decorated his office, gave him a bunch of gifts. He definitely felt the love that day. But actually someone just recently gave him a belated birthday present, and actually it was so nice. It was a metal, I'm gonna have to try and describe it. It was a circle metal sign with his honey business logo, which is his name of the business at the top when it was established at the bottom, and then a B in the center. And if that's what you get for being the favorite honey, I don't mind at all. So anyway, we've moved on to my daughter's room because I had this as the only space available to do my washing, and I had 4 or 5 buckets here and I just needed to sort them out. I have mentioned this tip before, but even if you don't have a chance to put the washing away, if it's at like Point Mount Washmore, just sort it out. Even if you don't put it away, just sort it into buckets so people know whose stuff belongs to who, and it's not having to dig through 10 different buckets to find one thing for one person. It's made the world of difference in my life for when I can't get on top of the washing, because my mans will pump out that washing bucket after bucket after bucket, but I am the one who lets it sit there to be put away. Sometimes I'm on it, sometimes I'm not. Anyway, I also wanted to give you a little update on my daughter's room because we did switch up the layout of this room a couple of weeks ago, and I've been loving it and she has been loving it, which has made me so happy because she now has some toys in there that she can play with and have a quiet little play space of her own, which is great because she does love to play with her dolls, and I feel like she just never got a chance when it was in my son's room because there's so many things in his room to play with. It's a little bit overwhelming, so that's been really nice for her to have. I have been thinking about how I wanted to, I don't even want to say it because I know I never follow through on this, but I have been thinking about the decor in her room. I know. I was surfing Pottery Barn. I should not be allowed on that website. I should not, because the things I added to cart, oh my word, holy dooly, they're expensive. Definitely not a descendant of Gina Reinhardt, so they did stay in the cart only. But gosh, they have some really gorgeous stuff there. My son was going to get a bed upgrade as well, and then we had to close that tab very quickly. And enough of the daydreaming. But I did move on to mopping, and I honestly don't feel mopping that much because A, it's hideously boring, and B, I forget that I'm filming and I just keep going and then I'm not even in frame for most of it. So, always a success for me. But I have to ask, do you have one of those vacuum mop machines? I kind of want one. I saw Dyson brought out one of their own, machine that does the mopping and the vacuuming. And I've been on edge about purchasing one just because I don't know if I can handle the smell. Apparently there's a bit of a stank to the water if you forget about it in the machine, and we all know I'm gonna forget. And you might be saying, hey, maybe you're different this time around. Maybe no, I'm not. I know this because I still do it with the good old mop and bucket. A couple days later I'm like, what's that smell? Where's that coming from? Like as if it's been completely erased from my mind about that bucket. You can see why I'm on the fence about it. But if you have good reviews on the Dyson vacuum mop situation, let me know. I did warn you that the chaos was coming, and we have officially arrived at that said destination. Now, a toy declutter is imminent. It is coming. I need to film it in the next couple of days because my word, when I look at this stuff, I'm like, God, I just overdo it. I'd overdo it on everything, and we have so much. And I think if I don't declutter by half this time around, I'll be disappointed in myself because I have observed my kids over the last year, and there is definitely things that they don't play with at all, or they don't need. They have a ton of pretend food, and my kids only use about a handful of it. I have felt food, I have wooden food, all these different things, and they probably use 1 or 2 pieces each time they play with it. So definitely going to be doing a big declutter. Actually, this year I have felt kind of overwhelmed with the amount of stuff that we have. Normally in years past, I'm like, oh, am I going to be able to declutter anything? But this year I'm like, do I have enough garbage bags? And am I going to be able to get rid of all of this stuff? The declutter will do us good though. I feel like I've really lost motivation when it comes to this whole toy situation, like when it comes to toy rotations, toy organization, all of it, because it's so overwhelming.
You know that I'ma keep it cool. With you I feel like breaking rules. On the edge, looking out with no parachute. You know I'm dreaming about us two, playing around without a clue. On the edge, cleaning out. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing, but guess I need more of you. You say it during night, but in the morning you just leave. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing, but guess I need more of you. You say it during night, but in the morning you just leave. Had to convince my friends this time. Think you're toxic to my mind, but I know they don't know what you're all about. The way you hold my body tight, staying up talking through the night. Yeah, I know they just don't. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. With us it's all or nothing, but guess I need more of you. You say it during night, but in the morning you just leave. I need more of. With us it's all or nothing. Ooh, but guess I need more of you. Why don't you stay?
So over on this side, we have accumulated a little bit more mess, and in the center between the bed and the wardrobe, we normally have some kind of gross motor thing in here, which I personally love to do. And I had the tiles, but I often swap it out between balance beams, wobble boards, and I do think we are very fast approaching aging out of this stuff, which is going to make me sad because, like I said, this is my favorite thing to do. I just love doing these kind of things with my kids. So it's going to be a very sad day for me indeed. But you guys have patiently been waiting, and we have finally reached the pinnacle of chaos. And let me tell you, I'm going to need you to reserve your judgment because I had no idea that this was going on behind here, okay? Nor did I realize one of my children had been using their floor space as a personal garbage can. So disgusted I was. And in my mind, I truly thought it had maybe been 2 or 3 months since I had last done it. Turns out it was closer to 5 or 6, which, I mean, it makes sense, right? When you look at it, you're like, no way that happened in 2 months. You're delusional. And oof. I mean, this is horrific. Nobody wants to be like picking through junk that's been sitting behind someone's bed for months. But here I was on my little stool, trying not to have like a crash out every 5 minutes as I sifted my way through all of this. Now, I didn't really have a technique beyond making piles, and that's all I could do. So you'll see I just had my piles on his bed because I wasn't gonna get up like so many times. And now you can see why we desperately needed declutter, because the kids didn't ask for anything. Not one thing that was hiding back behind this bed. So I'm like, I could just sweep this all up and throw it into the bin, and the kids would be none the wiser. As tempting as it was, I didn't do it. Now, when I'm in this space and I finish like getting everything out, I do normally scrub down the area because it's like a little bit, tiny bit gross down there. I didn't end up doing it because I thought I've been through enough today. I will not be doing that. So that is on my list of things to do, because look, I found some wonderful other things. Nothing like a lollipop cremated into the wood flooring and chewed up lollies. You know, just all the things to remind myself that I chose this path of being a mother, okay? Yeah, so that's gonna be a fun day for me indeed. And unfortunately, I can't like try and beat the system and do what I did in my daughter's room and have his bed the other way, so the bed head is against the main large wall, and then not end up with all this junk in between the bed and the wall. If I did that, it would leave me with barely any walking path between the end of his bed and the cupboard. So that would infuriate me more than coming and doing this like once every couple of months. But anyway, on to a better mood and something completely different. Hi, welcome to my channel. We zip around like crazy. I have been having the most incredible grapes. I know, grapes. All summer long. It has literally been the joy of my life. And when I say I kid you not, I've been going through 1 to 2 bags a week of grapes. Like, do I share with my kids? Sure, but like, is 90% of it me? Absolutely. And I will not apologize for it. They have been incredible. And I'm like trying to stop myself from audibly showing you how delicious these things are. They have been the light of my life this summer, and I'm gonna cry when they're not available anymore. They're currently at like $4.50 a kilo, which like during winter and early spring summer, they're $13 a kilo and not at all in my budget. But when they hit that $4.50, $5 mark, you best believe they're in my trolley. And oh my gosh, they are so crisp, and they're like the biggest grapes I've ever seen. Like, whoever's picking these grapes has got them at the perfect time, because they have that slight crunch. They're not like all rubbery and like about to go to the bin. They are the most incredible grapes I have ever eaten. So if you're in Australia and are having grapes, now is your time to like go ahead and buy them. But since you have begged and pleaded, I will give you some grape audio. Oh my lord, that's the most delicious thing. Will I keep this in? I don't know. This is the wildest thing I've ever done. Clearly I've run out of things to say, but like, listen. You cannot tell me you've had a crispier grape than that. Enough of the grapes though. I do formally apologize if you have come for like a proper motivational cleaning video and I've just spent the last few minutes of this video trying to tell you how good grapes are. Unfortunately, I am chaotic in every aspect of my life. But back to what I'm actually doing. I followed through on a task, which if you know me or have been around for a while, you know that's not my strong point, and I made sure I got all of it away, because the last thing I wanted was to leave it on this bed and it slowly fall back down the side of the bed and I have to do the whole thing again. So as tedious as this job was, because it seemed like none of the pieces were the same thing and all belonged in different spots, I got it done and I was very proud of myself for that. And then we moved on to, actually I think this was from the day before. Yes, it was. I just snuck it in here because it was a little bit boring. I'll tell you, I am an air dry girly through and through. I'm all for saving the money, and I live in an amazing country where we can harness the sun's beautiful power all year long. Well, maybe not winter, okay? Winter's annoying. I can't really do that, and I desperately do need a dryer just for the winter period, but also like, can I be bothered for like 3 months of the year? No, not really. This is me. I like to do it the good old way. I often have headphones because I can't stand being in my own thoughts for this long. This and like washing the dishes. I can't just, no. I get fatigued. I get fatigued just listening to myself. And I do hang them on coat hangers on the shirts for my stuff and the kids' stuff. That's just a little hack that I have encompassed into my life because it saves so much time. I don't have to then take it off the washing line, put it on a hanger and then hang it up. It's all done in one go. So that makes me really happy. But we've reached the end, so if you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.